Thank you, Chairman. We're now live streaming on YouTube.
Okay, so away we go. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Please can I ask you to observe 1 minute silence in respect of the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh, starting from now. Okay, thank you. 1 minute extended. Right. A warm welcome to councillors and officers attending this council annual general meeting, and to members of the public and press viewing the meeting via the live stream. I hope you are all keeping well, and my best wishes goes out to you all in what are still difficult times for many people. I'm Councillor David Andrews, and I'm the chairman of East Lindsey District Council. This is our
only see a piece of paper, Chairman.
Sorry?
We can only see a piece of paper.
No. How's that? I've moved the piece of paper. Can you see me now? This is our 9th remote meeting of the full council under the current government legislation. Please note that directly after this meeting, we will be holding a special council meeting to consider the appointments of chairman and vice chairmen for the council's committees. To help assist us with the smooth running of this meeting, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping rules. Firstly, please only turn on your microphone when speaking. This is really important, otherwise the audio will become unclear with background noise. If you wish to speak in the meeting, please press the raised hand button on your participation list. I will then invite councillors to speak in the order that they requested to speak. As usual, a councillor can speak for up to 5 minutes on any item. A Democratic Services officer will verbally notify the councillor when 30 seconds are remaining and when 5 minutes is completed. If you need to leave the meeting, please verbally let me and the meeting know this before you leave. Otherwise, we won't know if you left due to a connectivity issue. Finally, if you experience a connectivity issue, please contact Elaine Speed or Catherine Walton on the contact numbers that have been provided. Before that, I will hand over to Anne Good to take item 1 on the agenda, the record of attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Aldridge.
Present.
Councillor Andrews is present. Councillor Ashton.
Present.
Councillor Richard Avison.
Present.
Councillor Stan Avison.
Present.
Councillor Benjamin.
Present.
Councillor Wendy Bowkett.
Present.
Councillor Billy Brooks.
Present.
Councillor Danny Brooks.
Present.
Councillor Jimmy Brooks.
Present.
Councillor Trevor Burnham.
Present.
Councillor Sandra Campbell-Wardman.
Present.
Councillor Cullen.
Present.
Councillor Richard Cunnington is an apology. Councillor Mark Dannett.
Present.
Councillor Colin Davey.
Present.
Councillor Sid Dennis.
Present.
Councillor Sarah Devereux.
Present.
Councillor Colleen Dickinson is an apology. Councillor Dick Edgington.
Present.
Councillor Stephen Eyre.
Present.
Councillor Martin Foster.
Present.
Councillor Richard Fry.
Present.
Councillor William Gray.
Present.
Councillor Chris Green.
Present.
Councillor Adam Grist.
Present.
Councillor Will Grover.
Present.
Councillor Alex Hall.
Present.
Councillor David Hall.
Present.
Councillor Sandra Harrison.
Present.
Councillor Hibbert Greaves.
Present.
Councillor Horton.
Present. Can I just ask the chair following this item to explain why we're on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday? Present.
Thank you, Councillor Horton. Councillor Tony Howard.
Present.
Councillor Ros Jackson.
Present.
Councillor Jones.
Present.
Councillor Kemp.
Present.
Councillor Kirk.
Present.
Councillor Knowles.
Present.
Councillor Leonard.
Present, but I will be leaving just before 7. I'll notify the chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Leyland.
Present. Thank you.
Councillor Makinson Sanders.
Yes, present. Thank you.
Councillor Manjon.
Present.
Councillor Marsh.
Present.
Councillor Martin.
Present.
Councillor Matthews.
Present.
Councillor Macmillan is an apology. Councillor McNally.
Present.
Councillor Mossop.
Present.
Councillor Newman.
Present.
Councillor Parkin, I believe, hasn't joined us yet. She's going to do her very best, but she may be late, Chairman. So I'll mark that as an apology if necessary. Councillor Julie Platt.
Present.
Councillor Paul Rickett.
Present.
Councillor Phil Smith.
Present.
Councillor Jim Swanson.
Present. Present.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. That concludes.
Right, thank you. Before I go any further, Councillor Alton, to answer your question, it wasn't me who changed the meeting from a Wednesday to a Tuesday. It was the management. I've got Councillor David Hall wishes to speak.
Hi, Chair. I have to leave at 7 o'clock. I have a clashing meeting. If this meeting was on a Wednesday, it wouldn't have had a clash.
Okay, fine. Okay, item 2 on the agenda is disclosures of interest. Are there any disclosures of interest? Councillor Makinson Sanders, please.
Well, I don't think it comes up on the agenda. I can't tell you exactly where, but my son works in the grants team. I think he heads up the grants team at the council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we move on to item 3 on the agenda, election of chairman of the council. So have I got nominations for a chairman of the council, please?
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to nominate Councillor Sarah Devereux, please.
Sarah Devereux, thank you very much. You're proposing, yes? Have I got a seconder for that, please?
Yes, Chairman, my hand's raised. I would like to second that. And I'm sure Councillor Devereux will do a sterling job. And can I thank you for your service to the council, Chairman? given this very difficult year that we've had to deal with. I think it needs acknowledging by the whole council, and I'm sure all our colleagues will join with that.
Okay.
You've done it very well in very difficult circumstances.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No. Okay, so Councillor Devereux is duly elected as chairman for this coming year. I'd like to say congratulations, Councillor Devereux, and I'm sure you'll do a splendid job. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to read out a few thank yous. I mustn't get that paper in front of that camera. I would like to say a big thank you to all of you for your support during my 2 terms as chairman. Special thanks to Sarah, my vice chair, and Sandra, my consul, for their help and support. Also, a big thank you to the Reverend Cilla Smith, who would be my chaplain. Also, thank you to Anne Good and her team and all the officers and staff who have helped with the difficult times of Zoom meetings. Let's hope it won't be long before we are back to face-to-face meetings. Thank you very much. So item 4 is the chairman to make declaration of acceptance of office.
Chairman, we do have some colleagues.
Andre.
All right, sorry. Councillor Makinson-Sanders, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted, on behalf of the independent group, to give you a really big thank you for being such a nice, kind and generous chairman. We've really appreciated it. You're almost like a very cuddly grandpa. And it's been very nice. And I just want to congratulate you on how well you have dealt with Zoom. It's not the easiest thing to chair meetings on Zoom, and you've been exemplary. So big tick in the box for the older generation there, because they're always saying we can't master modern technology. And I know you haven't been terribly well in the last couple of years, so you deserve a well-earned rest. And thank you very much indeed for all your hard work.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Councillor Fiona Martin, please.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I just wanted to be associated with those comments, really, on behalf of Sandra and myself in particular. I know how hard it's been because I've chaired 12 people at the Town Council by Zoom, and that was difficult enough. Quite how you've managed with 55, I'm not sure, but you have done a superb job. And I would like to thank you for the last 2 years, because I know it's been hard work for you and you have done an excellent job.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor Tony Howard, please.
Well, I'm afraid, Chair, it's more of the embarrassment.
Oh dear, I'm going red here.
No, you've met up with a challenge that no one else in your position has had to deal with. You've met it full on, and it's been a difficult time, and you're still here at the end of it. So that's got to be a good sign, David. Thank you very much on behalf of the Labour Group for what you've done. And will you share those thanks with the team that supports you as well, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. Councillor Danny Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I won't go over what everybody else has said, but we totally agree. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Terry Knowles, please.
You're muted.
You're on mute, Terry.
Thank you very much, David. Now go and play some golf.
I am tomorrow morning. Right, thank you very much. That seems to be it. Okay, so we go back to the agenda. Item number 4, Chairman to make declarations of acceptance of office, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I feel like I've got some very big shoes to fill. I'd also like to formally move a vote of thanks for all your hard work over the last 2 years. And to say I'm slightly terrified of chairing on a Zoom meeting is an understatement. I may be calling upon you for some troubleshooting as we move forward. I have my declaration here, which I shall read. I, Sarah Devereux, having been elected to the office of Chairman of East Lindsey District Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as the conduct which is expected of the members of East Lindsey District Council. I'm signing, but I know it's slightly strange on Zoom.
Once again, I say congratulations to you, and I'm sure you'll do a splendid job.
Thank you, Councillor Andrews. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
That the meeting's now over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, then I shall move forward to item 6, which is the vice chairman. I beg your pardon. I'm ahead of myself already. Election of vice chairman to the council. Do I have any nominations, please?
Yes, Chair. Congratulations, Councillor Devereux. I would like to nominate Councillor Helen Matthews for the role of Vice Chair. I think Councillor Matthews will amply support you in your role, and also be well placed for taking the chairmanship in a year's time. Councillor Matthews is very community minded and will see the benefits for the whole of the district being chairman, and will do that role, I have no doubt, with great aplomb and dignity. So happy to support and propose Councillor Matthews.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland. And do I have a seconder for Councillor Matthews, please?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I will second that with pleasure. I think to see two ladies up on the top table when we get back in council will be a real treat. So the best of luck to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Iverson. Do I have any other nominations? No. So is everybody in favour of Councillor Helen Matthews being our vice chairman? I can see some hands and nods and smiles. Thank you all. So now I can move on and welcome Councillor Helen Matthews to the position of vice chairman. Congratulations. May I invite you to make your declaration of acceptance of office, please.
Thank you very much, Councillor Devereux. It's an honour and privilege to have this position, particularly hopefully this post-pandemic period. And I'm looking forward to helping and support you the best I can. My declaration I've got down here before me, and it's I, Helen Matthews, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair of East Lindsey District Council, declare that I take office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it accordingly to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of East Lindsey District Council, and I'll sign that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Matthews. I'm looking forward to working more closely with you moving forward. Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is the minutes, to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on Wednesday, the 3rd of March 2021, and the reconvened meeting held on Wednesday, the 10th of March 2021. Can I have a proposal for a true record, please? Councillor Leyland.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to propose both sets of minutes for acceptance by this council. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please?
Thank you, Chairman. May I congratulate you on your position. I'm sure you'll make a wonderful councillor and be supported very well by another really capable lady, Helen. I'd like to second both these sets of minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. And can I assume everyone is in favour of those unless there's some comments or no, show of hands? Thank you, Councillor. This would take those as approved. Moving on, item 8 is communications from the chairman and chief executive. Well, obviously you won't be surprised to know that I haven't actually got anything to report back at the moment, being very newly elected, except to thank you all very, very much for putting your faith in me. I hope I'll do you all proud. Rob, do we have anything for your report?
Yeah, just to add, Chairman, those action sheets, all those actions have now been completed. And just to say on behalf of the workforce, congratulations to yours and the Vice Chair of the Appointments Council.
Thank you very much for that, Rob. So that moves us nicely on to item 9, which is the action sheets. And as Rob has already said, they are all completed. Unless any members have any questions regarding the action sheets. I see no hands. So thank you very much. We'll move on to item 10, which is questions by the public, of which there are none today. So we'll move swiftly on to item 11, which is appointment of members to the Executive Board. Councillor Leyland.
Thank you, Chair. Just to confirm that the Executive Board will stay as it has been. There are no changes. I want to thank my colleagues for this last year, and I'm sure they'll wish you all well, both Chair and Vice Chair, for this future year. Thank you.
Thank you. And do I need a seconder for that, Councillor Leyland? We go to the Executive Board, or we take that as read?
I think we take that as read, Chair. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 12 is appointment to committees, and that's back to you, Councillor Leyland.
Thank you, Chair. The paper is before members. The annual allocation of council committee places must be made in accordance with the provision of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989 and the Local Government Regulations 1990 as amended. And it requires the council to review the representation of each political group on committees at each annual meeting or as soon as practicable after that meeting. So we have the places before us. And so the recommendation is that the changes in membership be noted and that the allocation of seats as detailed at Appendix A to the report be approved, and that the appointments to the various committees be agreed in detail at Appendix B. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland. Do I have a second for that proposal?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I would be happy to second this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mossop, you wish to speak?
Yeah, only very briefly, really. I wondered why on proportionality all the parties are allocated 1 seat per elected member, save for the Conservatives, so that, for example, there are 8 independents given 8 seats, 6 Suds given 6 seats, but 29 Conservatives given 30 seats, when in fact, in terms of the percentage of membership, there are 2 opposition groups, as it were, that have a slightly higher percentage of the membership. So I just wonder why that was, and whether it was presumptive that perhaps they might win the by-election because the vacancy has been allocated no seats. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mossop. Councillor Leyland, do you want to come back to that one?
Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, sorry, force of habit. Madam Chair, that is a technical question. I would have to refer to the monitoring officer or the chief exec in respect to that.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland. Would the chief exec like to answer the question for Councillor Mossop?
Yeah, the technical point that Councillor Mossop's raised, I mean, just to add some context, it will require a rebalancing of political proportionality after the by-election's been dealt with, so there's no presumption been made on that point.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Is that your question answered, Councillor Mossop?
Well, not really. I accept that there will be some reallocations once there is a vacancy, and it probably will be unnecessary for me to have made a comment. But I just thought it was just mildly amusing to see that they awarded themselves 30 seats when they only had 29 members. But right. Hey ho, that's what it is when you're in charge.
Thank you, Councillor Mossop.
So, sorry, just for clarification there, Chair, we haven't awarded ourselves any seats. This is a matter that's handled by Democratic Services. We're not in the business of giving ourselves seats. We are the majority, obviously, and I know that's sometimes difficult to handle. Thank you, Chair.
Madam Chairman, if I may interject, I can absolutely confirm it is not the administration, Councillor Mossop, that award or make that allocation. It's something that John and I do in consultation regarding having close regard to the political proportionality regulations and how we then manage to allocate those seats across the whole of the board. I'm more than happy to pick that up and confirm that in writing to you separately if you have a concern about the numbers of that, but it is certainly not anything to do with the administration, and it's something that sits within my responsibility. So I'll pick that up separately with you, Councillor Mossop. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, for the clarification. I've got Councillor Howard wishing to speak.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm not one to argue with Michelle and the management on very many occasions, but in Appendix B, the vacancy is quite clearly listed under the Conservative column and not separately. And so I agree with Councillor Mossop, just bringing that to everyone's attention.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. Councillor Leyland, have you proposed this and I'm looking for a seconder now? Or have we already been seconded?
It's already been seconded, Chairman, by myself.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. Do members want to take a roll call vote, or can we move forward with a show of hands?
I suggest we do a show of hands.
Yeah. Can you raise them so we can see them, just so we can get a rough? Yeah. Thank you very much. That looks like the majority. Thank you. We'll move on to item 13, which is responsibility for functions. Councillor Leyland again, please.
Thank you, Chair. The report is before us. This responsibility for functions has to be confirmed at each year annual meeting. And the recommendations that the responsibility for functions be confirmed as detailed as Appendix A and Appendix B of this report. And the reasons for this recommendation is to comply with the requirements of the Council's constitution and to maintain the good standards of governance in terms of the responsibility of functions. So it is proposed by myself, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Leyland. Do I have a seconder, please? I've got Councillor Howard with his hand up already. Councillor Howard.
Yes, at the group leaders meeting, I did raise a query as to whether on page 9 we had the correct wording for the member of Magna Vita Leisure Trust to whom there may be delegation. It says the managing director, and I did query that I thought they no longer had a managing director to whom we could actually delegate, and the term needed updating. Has that been corrected, or is
that? I will check with the Chief Exec to see that that point has been made. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've got proposed by Councillor, got your hands up now. Councillor Leyland checking the detail that Councillor Howard has brought to our attention. Are members happy to vote to accept this? Do you want a roll call, or can we have a show of hands? Show of hands seems to be favourite. Yeah. Thank you very much, councillors. That's item 13. Can Councillor Leyland again, please?
Thank you, Chair. So the report is brought before the committee. So this report sets out Appendix A and updates members on the current position in relation to remote and physical meetings. It is likely the calendar to be agreed by council will be subject to the continuance of remote meetings. So as it stands, this will go forward, but as I say, is likely to be changed. That's it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland. Councillor Makinson-Saunders.
Thank you. I note times of meetings on page 11 of this report. I did actually turn up to a planning policy committee at 2:15 one afternoon as a sub, only to be told that the meetings were at 10:15. So are the meetings at 10:15 or 2:15? So I don't make that mistake twice.
Thank you, Councillor Makinson-Saunders. Can we have some clarification with regards to planning policy meeting times? Councillor Leyland, are you aware?
Sorry, Councillor, I'll have to come back to you and confirm that. I haven't got the actual report in front of me because I haven't actually printed off that detail of that, but I'll happily confirm that with you to make sure that's the case. Unless the Chief Executive can confirm. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland.
Can all councillors be informed of this? Because if you're subbing, can all councillors please be told about this? Because if you're subbing, that's when the mistake happens, and we all need to. It needs to be circulated to everybody, not just to me, because I was asking the question, please.
Thank you for that point, Councillor Makinson-Saunders. Councillor Ashton.
Yes, I was just going to add a little bit of clarity on that. It may have been my fault.
Your audio, Councillor Ashton. We appear to have, we'll give Councillor Ashton a few minutes so he can reconnect. He seems to have dropped out. You're back, Councillor Ashton.
Hot apologies. I seem to be grappling with connections and stuff at that point. No, I was just going to say that may have been partially my fault on trying to move the meeting to 1:15, which would have been a more efficient time. But I'm happy to work with through the channel to make sure that remains at a fixed time in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Ashton. Councillor Marsh, were you gesticulating at me?
I was just going to say that I would be happy to second these, and I was just going to confirm what Councillor Ashton said. If he didn't get back, it's quite clear what times are, and any change of meetings will be notified to all and should include the substitutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. So we've got it proposed and seconded with obviously the discussion that has gone on with regarding the calendar of the meetings. Can I take it that everybody's happy for us to move forward and to accept the calendar as is? Clear show of hands, nodding. Lovely. Thank you very much. Councillor Mickelson-Sanders, you've still got your hand up. I think it's probably a legacy hand. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, if I may interject, Councillor Leonard, I'm going to be clocking off now, by the way.
Thank you kindly. 15, which is representation on outside bodies, to consider the appointment of representatives to the various outside bodies that are within the council remit. You'll put the papers in front of you. I shall read out the outside body and who is a current appointed member, and then I will call for nominations. So we'll start with Age UK Lindsay, for which we have one nomination already from Councillor David Hall.
Just to say.
And that will take us down then to Councillor Leyland.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to nominate propose Councillor William Gray, and if it needs seconding, it probably does. Councillor Gray does a very good job in this role, and I would certainly like to see.
Please.
Yeah, I'd be happy to second this for Councillor Gray. He took over this position from myself, and I am that's related to it, Aging Better, TED, all the rest of the bits, and more than happy to have William continue with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. Are there any other nominations? No. Can I assume that everybody is happy for Councillor William Gray to continue as our Age UK outside body rep? Lots of smiles and waving hands. Thank you very much. So that continues to be you, Councillor William Gray. Continue with your sterling work. We'll move down to Alford Grammar School Foundation, of which again there's one nomination, which is currently myself. Do we have any nominations? Councillor Leyland. You're muted, Councillor Leyland.
Sorry.
Keeping me on my toes today.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Yes, I would like to propose that you name that post to Councillor Deborah for the role. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland. Do I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I'd be happy to nominate you for this, Chairman. You've been doing an excellent job, and don't see any reason to change it unless anybody else has got a different view.
Thank you very much, Councillor Marsh. Are there any other nominations? No. Can I assume everyone's happy for me to continue in the role? Lovely, thank you very much. Moving down, it's PFPS, Public Service Partnership Services Limited, for which there are two nominations. At present, it's Councillor Richard Fry and Councillor Paul Hibbert-Greaves. Councillor Leyland, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to propose Councillor Fry and Councillor Paul Hibbert-Greaves to continue in this role. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder, please?
Yes, Chairman, I'm happy to second both candidates. Do an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. Are there any other nominations? No. Everybody happy for the two
No.
councillors to continue?
All due respect, Chair.
Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, I've got my hand up.
Just seen it.
Okay, thank you. I refer back to the last previous council meeting, and I asked the chairman of the leader of the council about seats on PSP's board, and I was assured, and I can quote him because it's in front of me here now, he said, and I quote, "We have 3 seats."
Thank you, Councillor Horton. Can I offer some clarification on that matter, please?
Yeah, I can offer clarification on that one, Chair. The further seat is for an officer and it's currently held by Alison Penn.
Thank you very much for that, Robert. Does that answer your question, Councillor Horton? Smashing. Thank you. So we'll go back to making sure everyone's happy for Councillor Fry and Councillor Hibbert-Graves to continue in that role. Yep. Thank you very much, everybody. Next one is First College, of which there are two nominations, Councillor Claire Newman and Councillor Phil Smith. Councillor Howard.
Yes, before I make the nominations, I would seek some clarity, as I understand from the two current nominations that there has been no meeting for them to attend. So I wondered, do we know from First College if they still require members? If that is the case, then I'm quite happy to propose Councillor Claire Newman and Councillor Phil Smith. But I would like clarification because I don't see the point in making nominations to a body if they don't require nominations to it.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. Can I seek some clarification on that one, please?
Again, Chair, it's a bit difficult on the night being asked that question. Maybe Councillor Newman and Smith will be best advised on that one.
Thank you, Rob. I can see Councillor Smith's got his hand up. Oh, sorry, Michelle, did you want to?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. If Councillor Smith comes in first, and then perhaps if I can propose a way forward, depending on what Councillor Smith says.
Thank you, Michelle. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, after a year of no contact from First College, after me making my first introductions, I did contact them again and asked them about what was going on, and they said that they were considering changing their arrangements on their board, and they weren't sure that they liked the choices that the council were making, and said that I could possibly submit a CV. And when I suggested that that it wasn't for them to decide exactly who the council elected to their board, they might have taken it the wrong way. But I did bring this up with John Armstrong, and he said he would look into it. And when I asked again whether or not he said he was awaiting a response. Whether or not there has been a response subsequently, I really don't know, but that was 6.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Michelle, have you got some light you may shed on this?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think, having listened to what Councillor Smith had said, that at the moment within our constitution there is an appointment to external body for this external body. My suggestion would be that you continue to appoint to that, so that you actually have named individuals, and I will continue that inquiry for you, Councillor Smith, to understand what the decisions of that board will be, and to see actually if there's anything that should have been in consultation with East Lindsey District Council as having membership of that board. But my view would be that you should still appoint to that, so at least you have persons appointed ready in the event that a meeting is convened.
Okay, thank you.
I'm happy to be on the board and I'm happy to do the work, but they've just completely cut us out.
No, I take your point, Councillor Smith. Councillor Thornton, you have your hand raised.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Just to congratulate you, Councillor Devereux and Councillor Matthews, on your new appointment, and inform you regretfully, because it's a Tuesday evening, I have another meeting to go to, so I will be leaving the meeting. But congratulations on your appointments.
Thank you, Councillor Horton. So moving forward, if we take Michelle's advice to still nominate for the two positions, I know Councillor Howard has already proposed. Do we have a seconder? If assuming both councillors are still happy to do the role, do we have a seconder, please?
Yes, I'm happy to second both of these nominations, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. And assuming you're both happy to continue, Councillor Newman, and obviously Councillor Newman and Councillor Smith already indicated be happy to do so.
Yeah, absolutely happy to do so. If it's an actual active role, would be appreciated.
Thank you, Councillor Newman. If everybody's happy for our two councillors to continue in the position, yeah. Thank you. We'll move down now to the Health Scrutiny Committee for Lincolnshire. We have one nomination plus one substitute. As you'll be aware that the serving member of this council has to be a serving member of the Overview Committee. At present, we have Councillor Sandra Harrison, and I, in fact, am Councillor Harrison's son. Do I have any nominations? Or Councillor Leyland?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to propose Councillor Sandra Harrison for the role. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Harrison?
Yeah, I would be happy to nominate Councillor Sandra Harrison. She's doing a great job, and the sub as well if it needs seconded.
Thank you. Do I have any further nominations? Is that a legacy hand, Councillor Leyland? Thank you. No further nominations. Is everybody happy for Councillor Harrison to continue in the role? Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. Next is Flood and Water Management Scrutiny Committee. We have one nomination plus one substitute. At present, it's Councillor Fiona Martin and Councillor Sid Dennis for Salt. Do I have any nominations, please?
Yes, Chair. Sorry, it's the raised hand. Yes, I would like to nominate Councillor Fiona Martin to continue in that role.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder?
I would be happy to second that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Councillors are happy for Councillor Martin to continue in that role. Yep, smashing. Thank you very much. Next is Magna Vitae Leisure Trust, of which there are two nominations.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry to
Councillor.
interrupt, but you need to we need to nominate the sub, which is nominations. Councillor Dennis.
Yes.
No problem. I'm quite happy to propose that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to second Councillor Dennis for that position. Thank you.
Thank you. And is everybody in favour of Councillor Dennis continuing as the sub? Thank you very much. I'm assuming pens raised means yes. Now we're moving back down to Magna Vitae Leisure Trust. Again, as I say, there are two nominations. At present, it is Councillor Sarah Parkin and Councillor Helen Matthews. Do I have some nominations? Councillor Leyland, you were first.
Thank you. I would like to propose Councillor Sarah Parkin as one of the positions. Councillor Matthews has stepped down from that role, and in her place, I would like to nominate Councillor Steve Kirk. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. You were next to speak.
I would like to nominate Councillor Newman.
Thank you. So going back, we need Sarah Parkin has got a nomination, as has Councillor Steve Kirk and Councillor Newman. I need seconders. But we'll start with Councillor Parkin. Councillor Jackson, you'll raise your hand.
Yes, I'd like to second Councillor Newman. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm quite happy to second Councillor Parkin for this and the other one. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we've also got Councillor Steve Kirk. Do I have a seconder?
And second Councillor Steve Kirk. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. That's okay. So we've got three councillors all been nominated and seconded, if I've got this correct. So now, and we move to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I just seek clarification from the monitoring officer? Will it be in order just to read down the list and the councillors say who they would wish to vote for?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. And yes, and that's absolutely correct. We can do that in terms of transparency.
Thank you very much. So, thank you. So, Councillor Aldridge.
Councillor Newman, and who is the other one, please?
Sorry, Anne, carry on.
So there was a proposal for Councillor Parkin, a proposal for Councillor Kirk, because Councillor Matthews has stood down, and then there was also a proposal for Councillor Newman.
So Councillor Newman, Councillor Kirk from me.
Councillor Newman and Councillor Kirk. Thank you. Councillor David Andrews.
Councillor Parkin and Councillor Kirk, please.
Councillor Tom Ashton.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Parkin, please.
Councillor Richard Avison.
Councillor Parkin and Councillor Kirk, please.
Councillor Stan Avison.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Parkin, please.
Councillor Adrian Benjamin.
Councillor Kirk.
Do you wish to make another nomination, Councillor
No,
Benjamin, or
thank
is it
you.
just no? Thank you. Councillor Wendy Bowkett.
Councillor Parkin and Councillor Kirk.
Councillor Billy Brooks.
Councillor Newman and Councillor Kirk, please.
Councillor Danny Brooks.
Councillor Steve Kirk and Councillor Newman.
Councillor Jimmy Brooks.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Newman.
Councillor Trevor Burnham.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Newman.
Councillor Sandra Campbell-Wardman.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Parkin.
Councillor Cullen.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Councillor Newman and Councillor Kirk, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cunnington is an apology. Councillor Dammett.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Newman, please.
Councillor Davey.
Councillor Kirk, please.
Thank you. Councillor Dennis.
Kirk and Newman. Sorry, Kirk and Parkin. Apologies.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Parkin. Thank you. Councillor Devereux.
Councillor Parkin and Councillor Kirk, please.
Councillor Dickinson is an apology. Councillor Edgington.
Councillors Kirk and Parkin, please.
Councillor Eyre.
Councillors Kirk and Newman, please.
Councillor Foster.
Councillor Kirk and Councillor Parkin. Thank you.
Councillor Fry. Councillor Fry.
Sorry. Councillor
Thank
Parkin
you.
and Councillor Kirk, please.
Thank you. Councillor Gray.
Councillor Kirk and Parkin, please.
Councillor Green.
Councillor Parkin and Councillor Kirk.
Councillor Grist.
Thank you. Councillors Parkin and Kirk, please.
Councillor Grover.
Councillors Kirk and Parkin, please.
Councillor Alex Hall.
Councillors Parkin and Kirk, please.
Councillor David Hall. Councillor David Hall still with us?
No, he's in town.
Thank you. Thank you. I left the meeting, so thank you. Councillor Sandra Harrison.
Councillors Parkin and Kirk.
Councillor Paul Hivitt-Greaves.
Councillors Parkin and Kirk, please.
Councillor George Horton has left the meeting, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Tony Howard.
Councillors Newman and Kirk, please.
Councillor Ros Jackson.
Councillors Newman and Kirk, please.
Councillor Neil Jones.
Councillors Kirk and Parkin, please.
Councillor Kemp.
Councillors Kirk and Parkin, please.
Councillor Kirk.
Well, myself and Councillor Parkin, please.
Councillor Terry Knowles. Councillor Knowles still with us? I'm not hearing anything from Councillor Knowles.
Newman and
there you
Kirk,
are.
sorry about that.
All right.
Woke me up there.
Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you, Councillor Knowles. I'm just asking if you'd like to vote.
Newman and Kirk.
Thank you very much. I believe Councillor Leonard has left the meeting. Councillor Leyland.
Thank you. Councillor Kirk and Councillor Parkin. Thank you.
Councillor Jill Makinson Sanders.
Kirk and Newman. And on the point of order, can I just have it ask the monitoring officer if it's possible to be voted into a position when you're not present at the meeting? I know on another council I'm a member of, that's not permissible.
Can I just say I am here, Jill?
I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know you'd arrived. Nobody said you'd arrived. I beg your pardon. Sorry.
Councillor Manjon.
Kirk and Parkin, please.
I'm sorry, Councillor Manjon, you cut out then. Can you just say again, please?
Councillors Kirk and Parkin, please.
Thank you very much. Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, Councillors Parkin and Kirk, please.
Councillor Fiona Martin.
Councillor Kirk, please.
Councillor Helen Matthews.
Councillors Kirk and Parkin.
Councillor Stephen McMillan is an apology. Councillor Daniel McNally.
Councillors Parkin and Kirk.
Councillor Edward Mossop.
Councillor Newman.
Councillor Newman.
Thanks, Anne. That would be myself and Councillor Kirk.
Councillor Parkin.
Myself and Councillor Kirk, please.
Councillor Julie Platt.
Councillors Parkin and Kirk, please.
Councillor Paul Rickett.
Councillors Parkin and Kirk, please.
Councillor Phil Smith.
Councillor Newman, please.
Councillor Swanson.
I'll have Councillor Kirk and Councillor Newman, please.
Thank you, Councillor Swanson. Just bear with us one moment, please, Chairman.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Chairman. So that was 29 for Councillor Parkin, 46 for Councillor Kirk, and 16 for Councillor Newman. So Councillor Parkin and Councillor Kirk are nominated, and they become the representatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Anne. Before I move forward, Councillor Jackson, is that a legacy hand or have you just raised that?
Sorry, that's a legacy hand.
Right, thank you, Councillor. We'll move down to the Greater Lincolnshire Local Enterprise Partnership, which is leave of the council nomination. I believe, if I'm correct, here, Councillor Leonard, that it does need to be the lead of the council for this one.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's correct. Thank you.
Yes. So we'll move down to Lincolnshire Police and Crime Panel, which is one nomination, which at present is Councillor Graham Marsh. Do I have any nominations, please? Councillor Leonard, you have your hand up.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Marsh for this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a second, Dale?
Can I second, Madam Chairman?
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Are there any other nominations for the role? I see no hands, so is everybody happy for Councillor Marsh to continue in that role? Yes. Thank you all very much. That concludes that section. We can now move on to section 6, or item 6, I beg your pardon, which is section 151, officer arrangements. Councillor Leyland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is to confirm the appointment of Adrian Sibley to the Section 15 officer role for East Lindsey District Council. This will be a joint role with Boston Borough Council following a change in the secondment arrangements with Corby Borough Council. And the recommendation is that the appointment of Adrian Sibley as the Council Section 151 officer be confirmed with immediate effect. And that's to ensure that the statutory role of 151 officer is appropriately allocated. Chair, just some background. Adrian Sibley has acted as East Lindsey's 151 officer in recent years, and this has been possible through a secondment arrangement with Corby Borough Council. We have now seen local government reorganisation in Northamptonshire, and therefore, in order to retain Adrian's support as 151 officer, it is necessary to retain his services through a contract of employment, which will be on the same terms as other senior staff, albeit part-time at 22.5 hours a week, and with 1/3 of these costs to continue to be picked up by Boston Borough Council. And audit and governance chairs have been complimentary as to his feedback from the Chief Executive as well. So the decision is before the Council not to alter the name's post holder as 151 officer, but as a belt and braces formality to recognise the new contractual position. I would therefore recommend this decision to Council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Leyland. The other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Marsh.
I would like to second this appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Are councillors all happy with recommendations as is? Yep. Thank you all very much indeed. We shall move on then to item 17, which is minutes of the Audit and Governance Committee, and that's Councillor Hibbert-Greaves, please.
Yes, thank you. Can I propose these as a true record of the meeting of the Audit and Governance Committee?
Thank you, and they're just for noting, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much, Councillor Greaves. Item 18 is to answer questions pursuant to the Council Procedure Rule 11. You all have the questions in front of you. So question 1 was from Councillor Ross Jackson to Councillor Martin Foster. Do you have a supplementary, Councillor Jackson?
I do. I'd like to ask why it's 1 year that we'll be looking at a review of this extra expense rather than 6 months. In 6 months' time, that'll take us to October when most of the country will be vaccinated and things will be very different. So why not in 6 months' time, please?
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Foster, did you want to respond?
Yes, thank you for your supplementary, Councillor Jackson. Yes, it's a decision that had to be made. We've seen a 100% increase in the last 12 months. And even though the household waste recycling centres have now reopened up, that demand hasn't decreased. And so we saw it, even after the COVID restrictions are lifted, that people seem to have chosen that as a method of disposing of their larger items. So rather than going for the one-off investment, we thought that we'd put it into the budget, increase the prices for this year, and obviously review it at the end of the year to give us a chance to see whether that trend continues. We've had to hire in additional vehicles throughout the year, drivers to actually cover the demand. And so far this year, we've had 2,600 requests for that particular service, which, as I said, is a 100% increase on what we would usually expect. And that's despite the household recycling centres remaining open.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Okay, Councillor Jackson. I'll move on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question 2, which is Councillor Andrew Leonard to Councillor Craig Leyland. Have you a supplementary? Or actually, Councillor Leonard had to leave, did he not, Anne? Yeah, I'm getting nodding. We'll move on then to the next question. Question 3 is again, no, it's Councillor Edward Mossop, beg your pardon, to Councillor Graham Marsh. Do you have a supplementary?
Yeah, just very briefly, thank you for the answer. And I felt it's a pretty unknown part of the council's functions, this licensing of wild animals. And I just wonder whether you'd support an item bringing this to a reserve members' day so that this information can be passed out to more members of the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mossop. Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, well, thank you for a very interesting question. It certainly made me open my eyes. I thought, oh yeah, but I knew we did it, but I didn't realise to what extent. And you're quite right. I think it would be an interesting topic for the councillors to actually have at Reserve Members' Day so that we understand it better. And whilst we're going round doing our councillor bits, we will more than likely look out now more for some of these animals, if we've got that many within our area, and it will be interesting to know exactly how we deal with it and how to refer it if we think one isn't licensed. So a good question, thank you very much, and I'd be delighted to put it into Reserve Members' Day.
Thank you very much for that. Thanks.
Thank you both. Question 4 is Councillor Mossop to Councillor Craig Leyland. Do you have a supplementary, Councillor Mossop?
No, thanks for the answer on that one. I was asked by a lot of members of the public about this particular issue on transport, and that's why I bring them to these questions to the questions to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Question 5, sorry, is Councillor Jill Making Sanders to Councillor Craig Leyland. Do you have a supplementary?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Councillor Leyland, for your reassurances that measures are in place. Admitting you can't cope is one of the first positive steps in the treatment of mental health conditions. However, please can you explain how this council accurately measures the working hours of all staff working remotely? What's in place to provide more than simple anecdotal information that the issue of staff working excessive hours above their contracted hours is getting due attention?
Thank you, Councillor Makinson Saunders. Councillor Leyland.
Thank you, Councillor, for the supplementary, and the issues you raise are serious and germane to what we've gone through for the last year. So I'll happily respond after the meeting once I've got that assurance about how that's been handled.
Thank you. I think it's really important for our workforce. So thank you very much indeed for that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, fully understand. Thank you.
Thank you. And question 6 is Councillor George Horton to Councillor Wendy Bokett. Councillor Horton, I believe, has left the meeting. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So that can I just check it? I don't think it does conclude. I do beg your pardon. Oh, it's Councillor George Horton again to Councillor Craig Leyland. But as he's not here, he can't do a supplementary. That does conclude the questions. Okay, item 19 is exempt information, for which there is none. And so item 20 is the date of the next meeting, and we've all just agreed that will be the 21st of July 2021. I'm now going to move straight into the special meeting to elect the chair and vice chairs on the committees. Such your small agendas that you have. So item 1 is record of attendance. Anne.
Thank you, Chairman. We'll take the record of attendance as is at the moment. We do have a full list of those that have joined and left the meeting, so we'll apply it to the special meeting with your permission.
That'll be smashing. Thank you very much. Item 2 is disclosure of interest, if any. Any councillors of any interest? No. We'll move straight into item 3, which is the appointment of chairman and vice chairman of the committees which you all will have the information of. So the first one is Audit and Governance Committee. I will read through who is currently on the committees. We have Councillor David Andrews, Councillor Adrian Benjamin, Councillor Colin Davey, Councillor Will Grover, Councillor Paul Hibbert-Greaves, Councillor Jill Makinson-Saunders, Councillor Rosalind Jackson, Councillor Terry Knowles, Councillor Danny Brooks. Oh, sorry, I'm having I thought I'd done really well and then got to the last hurdle and just faltered a little, so bear with me. As you're aware, you can only vote for the vice and the chairman if you're already a present member of that committee. I've made it clear who is actually on audit and governance, so I need a proposer and a seconder from those members for the start of the vice to the chairman, please. I've got Councillor Jill Makinson-Saunders, you were first.
Sorry, I've got a daffodil in front of my mute button. I'm going to nominate Paul Hibbert-Greaves for the chairman, please.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Colin Davey to speak next.
That's the third to second, Paul Hibbert-Greaves.
Thank you, Councillor Davey. All that are on the committee, are they in favour? Or, sorry, I do beg your pardon. Any other nominations? The chair. Councillor Grover, are you waving at me? No. There's no further nominations. Is everybody on audit and governance happy for Paul Hibbert-Greaves to stay as chair? Can you show me your hand, please? Thank you very much. Vice chair for said committee. Nominations, please.
Hello, I'd like to hang on.
Yeah, I can hear you, Councillor.
Yeah. Sorry, I'd like to nominate Councillor Grover, please, as vice chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Makinson-Saunders.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Ros Jackson. She's the most dedicated reader of agendas amongst all of us, and she knows her subject backwards, forwards, sideways.
Thank you. I have two nominations now, Councillor Grover and Councillor Jackson. I've got to speak next, Councillor Colin Davey.
I'd like to second Councillor Grover's nomination as vice chair.
Thank you. Do I have any seconder for Councillor Jackson? Councillor Danny Brooks.
Yes, I'd like to second Councillor Jackson.
Okay, thank you. And I'm looking for you now. We need to go to the vote as we've had two nominations, both been proposed and seconded.
Thank you, Chairman. So if I just read out the members of Audit and Governance Committee, if you could confirm who you'd like to vote for, please. So Councillor David Andrews.
Councillor Jackson for me.
Councillor Grover, please.
Thank you. Councillor Adrian Benjamin.
Councillor Grover.
Councillor Colin Davey.
Councillor Grover.
Councillor Grover.
For myself.
Councillor Hibbert-Greaves.
Councillor Grover, please.
Councillor Jill Makinson-Sanders.
Well, Councillor Jackson, please.
Councillor Jackson.
For myself, I guess. Thank you for everyone who's nominated me.
Councillor Terry Knowles.
Councillor Jackson.
And Councillor Danny Brooks.
Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. One moment, please, Chairman.
Should have snooped.
Thank you, Chairman. That was 5 votes for Councillor Grover and 4 votes for Councillor Jackson. I do realise that Councillor Aldridge did try to register a vote, but he's not actually on the Audit and Governance Committee. So under that circumstance, he's not actually entitled to vote. So that was the result.
Yes, sorry, Anne. My internet connection, and Elaine will tell you, keeps crashing down, in and out, in and out. It's done it about 10 times, and I've asked her to record it. This happened at the last planning meeting, and I don't hear what people are having to say, and my screen freezes. I wanted to come in about nominations for Lindsay Marsh drainage, but I was offline when it came in, and I would like to make a comment with the chairman a bit later on, if I may, please.
I'll speak to you later then, Councillor Aldrich, if that's okay.
Thank you, Councillor Aldrich. So that vote was in favour of Councillor Grover. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now looking for nominations for Vice Chair. Can I have a nomination, please? Councillor Makinson Saunders, is your hand legacy, or do you wish to speak? You're muted.
No, we've just done the Vice Chairman, haven't we?
Vice Chair of what?
We've done the Chair and Vice Chair.
We've done that one, Lovey.
Oh, lovely.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman or Mrs. Chairman, or sorry.
I don't mind, lovely. That's quite all right.
Sorry. I think it's all hypothermia is getting to me.
I think it's getting to us all, Jill. So we'll move on. So now we must be on to overview, which again I will be.
I think Chairman wanted general licensing, aren't we?
You'll be on licensing.
Licensing.
See, that's Councillor Saunders now. She's blown my mind. I will try and get back in the game. Licensing, of which there are 11 members. We have Councillor David Andrews, Councillor Stan Avison, Councillor Adrian Benjamin, Councillor Sarah Devereux, Councillor Neil Jones, Councillor David Magnon, Councillor Andrew Leonard, Councillor Graham Cullen, Councillor Sandra Campbell-Wardman, Councillor Billy Brooks, and Councillor Sarah Parkin. So now I'm looking for nominations for Chairman of the Licensing Committee, please.
I'd like to propose. Excuse me, I've got my hand up.
That's why I'd like to
propose Councillor Stan Avison for Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Avison?
I will second that.
Thank you, Councillor Magnon. Of the committee members, are there any other nominations for Chair of Licensing? No. Are all Licensing Committee members happy for Councillor Avison to continue as Chair? Yeah, thank you very much. Now we'll go to the Vice Chairman of Licensing. Can I have nominations, please? Councillor
I'd like to nominate Councillor Sandra Wardman, please, for the Campbell-Wardman, please, for the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Avison.
Chairman, I'd like to second that. Councillor Andrews.
Thank you, Councillor Andrews. Are there any other nominations for Vice Chair of Licensing? No. Can I assume that all the Licensing Committee members are happy for Councillor Sandra Campbell-Wardman? She's waving at me. I'm happy to continue. Lovely. Thank you very much. Now we're on to overview. Again, I'll read through the names. We've got Councillor Sarah Devereux, Councillor Dick Eddington, Councillor Alex Hall, Councillor Sandra Harrison, Councillor Helen Matthews, Councillor Magnon, Councillor Edward Mossop, Councillor Jill Makinson Saunders, Councillors Claire Newman, Councillor Fiona Martin, and Councillor Trevor Burnham. Please, have I nomination for Chairman, please, of Overview Committee? Councillor Makinson Saunders.
Councillor Martin. Please.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder for
I'll second that. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Newman. Are there any other nominations for Chairman of Overview? No. Are all committee members happy for Councillor Martin to continue in the role?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you very much. Vice Chairman of Overview, can I have a nomination, please? But Councillor Mickelson, is that a legacy hand or are you?
No, it's I'm nominating Councillor Edward Mossop.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Oh, Councillor Fiona Martin.
Yeah, can I second that, please?
Certainly. Are there any other nominations for Vice Chairman of Overview? No. Are all Overview members happy for Councillor Mossop to continue in the role? Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, over the page, planning. We have Councillor Sid Dennis, Dick Eddington, Alex Hall, Neil Jones, Thomas Kemp, Daniel McNally, Helen Matthews, Steve Eyre, Terry Aldrich, David Hall, Jim Swanson, Billy Brooks, and Richard Cunnington. I'm now looking for nominations for Chairman of Planning Committee, please.
Yes, I would like to propose Stephen Eyre.
Thank you, Councillor Aldrich. Do I have any more nominations? Seconder for Councillor Eyre. Can you raise your hand? The yellow front to be this. Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, I would second Councillor Eyre.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for Chairman of Planning Committee?
Can we nominate Danny McNally? We're on planning.
Councillor Matthews. Yeah, we're on planning.
Yeah, I would second that.
I heard, oh, Councillor Hall, thank you. We have two nominations that have been proposed and seconded for Chairman of Planning. So we'll go to you and the vote, if we may, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So if each councillor could just say their preference, please. Councillor Dennis.
Councillor McNally.
Councillor Edgington.
Councillor McNally.
Councillor Alex Hall.
Councillor McNally.
Councillor Neil Jones.
Sorry, I was on mute. Councillor McNally.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas Kemp.
Councillor McNally.
Thank you. Councillor Daniel McNally.
Councillor McNally.
Councillor Helen Matthews.
Councillor McNally.
Councillor Stephen Eyre.
Myself, I guess. Thanks.
Councillor Terry Aldridge.
Councillor Eyre.
Thank you. Councillor David Hall, I believe, may have left. Am I correct? He's left the meeting. Thank you. Councillor Jim Swanson.
I abstain.
Thank you. Councillor Billy Brooks.
Councillor Eyre, please.
And Councillor Cunnington is an apology this evening. Just bear with me one moment, please, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. That's 7 in favour of Councillor McNally and 3 for Councillor Eyre. So Councillor McNally is appointed.
Thank you for that, Anne. And now we're looking for a Vice Chairman of Planning Committee. Can I have nominations, please? Everyone's gone quiet on me.
We have Dick Edgington, please.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Matthews. Councillor Dennis had his hand raised.
I would second that.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Dennis, you wish to speak?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a word in edgeways, yeah. Yeah, councillor Edgington, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Matthews, I know you were trying to jump in, but you didn't use your yellow hand. So Councillor Edgington, do I have a seconder for Councillor Edgington?
Yeah, I would second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Any other nominations for Vice Chair of Planning? No. Is everybody on the Planning Committee happy for Councillor Edgington to continue as Vice Chair? Yes, lovely. Thank you very much. Last but not least is Planning Policy. We have Councillors Tom Ashton, Sid Dennis, Will Grover, Thomas Kemp, Daniel McNally, Helen Matthews, Carleen Dickinson, Steve McMillan, Tony Howard, Phil Smith, and Jimmy Brooks. I'm looking for nomination for chair, please. I've got Councillor Ashton first.
Chairman, if I may just interject one moment, the chairman of planning policy is Councillor Ashton by default because he's the portfolio.
Oh, beg your pardon.
So yeah, we're just looking for nominations for vice chairman on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, we haven't been corrected. We're looking for vice chairman. Councillor Ashton, was that the point you wanted to raise to me?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chairman. If I could move Councillor Dennis be appointed vice chairman, please, and look for a second.
Thank you very much.
I'll be happy.
Councillor Grover had his hand up first, Councillor McNally, sorry.
Just a second, Councillor Dennis.
Do I have any other nominations? No, is everybody on that committee happy for Councillor Dennis? Yeah. Thank you all very much. That concludes that part of the meeting. I'm going to thank you all for your attendance and your patience with me this evening. I shall close the meeting now at 19:38.